இல்ல இருக்கு சார், கண்டிப்பா இருக்கு. சில நேரங்கள் அக்காமடேட் பண்ண மாட்டேன். எட்லீஸ்ட் நமக்கு வந்து இது இல்லாம ஒரு 50% இருந்தா கூட
ఫోన్ చేస్తాను అప్పుడు నువ్వు వాడికి లైన్ కలిపి నేనేం మాట్లాడను ఏంటి ఇలా జరిగిందంటే ఏంటి అనేది నువ్వు మామూలుగా మాట్లాడు సారీ
Okay.
Let me, anybody confirm you're able to see the screen? Just put in chat box, say yes.
Professional.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So with the last class, we have completed our IS 106. So from today, we'll start IS 107, which is chemical safety. In this particular paper, we may have close to 8 to 10 classes, being it is in a big paper. So this is the first class. Okay, I'll keep it in presentation mode so that it is visible who are attending from attending using mobile phone. Fine. So if you see, yeah, inevitable place of chemical industry. What is mean by inevitable place? Inevitable place and enti. Inevitable place is nothing but everywhere. So wherever you see, there is a chemical from the starting of our day. So it starts with the toothpaste. It starts with the chemical which used for the toilet cleaning, soaps, even detergents or other washing machine liquids, phenol, floor cleaning chemicals, etc., etc. Even used to take a few drugs for the sickness. All those are chemicals. There is no place left empty without a chemical. అంటే ప్రతి చోట కూడాను మనకి కెమికల్ అనేది వచ్చేసింది. So we see in the farming also there is a chemical for the in the animal husbandry, like sheep and goat farms, poultry farms, everywhere they use a chemicals in part of maybe a drug or in part of maybe a boosting agents or in part of maybe antibiotics. There are many forms of chemicals they use for various purposes. Okay, అంటే ఎన్నో రకాలుగా మనం ఈ కెమికల్స్ ని యూజ్ చేస్తూ వస్తున్నాం. Okay, if you see this, one second. The first and also the simplest way is to avoid chemicals, or the ill effects is to avoid the chemical industry itself, but it is not possible. How we can safeguard ourselves from the chemical? It is simple that we should not expose. Other way of it, we should not use any such a sort of chemicals which can harm us. But it is not possible because everybody is habituated. As I take an example as a toothpaste. Previously, we used to have the charcoal as a, for the brushing up of our teeth, or maybe the people have used soil also. The people would have used salt also, the crystal salt. So now people are more habituated with this high-fi lifestyle, and they are well addicted with this kind of different kinds of toothpaste. Even they used to give an ad. Is there any salt in your paste? Or they'll give multiple ads. So now it is not possible to avoid such chemicals because being it is motivated or it is passionate about the people. Now, what can be done? So it has to be handled in a careful manner. A place of chemical industry can be selected or shifted, but it has to run somewhere on the earth, and also its place in our life has become inevitable or unchangeable because of the following reasons. So why it was inevitable or why we can't change? ఎందుకు మన జీవితాల నుంచి దీన్ని తీసేయలేము? Because of in homes we need a cement, a plaster or tiles or paints and polywood, glass, plastic curtains or TV tubes, etc. In kitchen we have gas, fuel, matchbox, heating applications, etc. For the health related drugs, as I mentioned, all pharmaceuticals and the cosmetics, which is for the beauty, for the skin care the people used to have. And in the agriculture, where we are doing the agriculture on various farming like fertilizers or pesticides to grow the crop as well as to control the pest on the crop. Then construction requires minerals and metals, lime, cement, and explosives, etc. In the transportation, as we know, petrol, diesel, gas, and the paints and rubbers, these are also a form of chemical. And clothing requires dyes and colors, soaps and detergents, as I mentioned already. And offices needs paper, ink, and also adhesives and the photocopies or carbon and computers. All these also, some sort of chemical components will be there as a base structure. And the basic needs will be like air, water, and food, clothing, and shelter are the product of chemistry. It is also one of the product. If you see a water, there also is a chemical name we used to call it as H2O. That is also one of the chemical. If you're breathing oxygen, that is also one type of chemical. It is an O2, oxygen. So everywhere, the chemical is required to lead our life. So we can't be able to avoid those chemicals from our lifestyle. అంటే ఏ కెమికల్ కూడాను మన లైఫ్ స్టైల్ నుంచి మనం దాన్ని దూరం చేసుకోవడం. ఎందువల్ల? ఇన్ని కారణాల వల్ల. కిచెన్ దగ్గర నుంచి అగ్రికల్చర్ ఫార్మింగ్ వరకు, ట్రాన్స్పోర్టేషన్ దగ్గర నుంచి ఆఫీస్లో వర్క్ చేసే వరకు మనకి కెమికల్స్ అనేవి కావాలి. So if you see, the chemical industry is also useful for national production as well as employment for many people. So it is therefore not possible to avoid prevent the chemical industry, and only way remains us to run industry in a safer manner. So because now we are dependent on chemicals. What is mean by dependent? Dependent అంటే ఏంటి? మనం ఒకరి మీద ఆధారపడుతున్నాం. సో నౌ వీఆర్ డిపెండెంట్ ఆన్ కెమికల్స్. అంటే మనం కెమికల్స్ మీద ఆధారపడి బతుకుతున్నాం కాబట్టి we can't remove those industries in the world, but we have a choice of running those industries in a safer manner. అంటే వాటిని తీసేయలేము, బట్ వాటిని సేఫ్టీతో మనం వాటిని ప్రాపర్గా రన్ చేసుకుంటే మనం వాటి నుంచి మనం మనల్ని కాపాడుకోవచ్చు. And this is done to suggest the following of 10 points. So we can see how we can run the chemical industry in a broader way, in a safe manner. One is study and identify the chemical hazards using the material safety data sheet, which is also called as MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. Please remember, there is a high chance of asking about MSDS. Please listen carefully. So there they may ask you to write the 16 sections of the MSDS and with an example. Okay, we'll have a separate section also on MSDS. Following slides or maybe on the following classes we can get more into about this MSDS. And also the system of classification, packaging, labeling should be developed. So first we have to understand the hazard. What is mean by hazard? Anybody? We have discussed many times. Hazard and enti. You just put in chat box. I'll run through. Okay. Put in chat box. So, and classification, packaging. So we have to classify the chemicals into various classifications. What does it mean by classification of chemical? Segregation. So how we can segregate it? Whether we can say flammable liquids or solids or explosives or oxidative chemicals or acids, etc. The similar way, we have to classify, then we have to make it packaging and labeling also. So how you are packing your chemical, whether it is compatible. So whether it is your packing will not cause any hazard. So for example, if you're not done packing properly, what will happen? So it may get leak, it may get exposed to the environment. So it will become a hazard or risk for the people who are handling or who are carrying it. Then select the safer technology. We have to select the proper technology to handle. So, or super technology means equipments or machineries or instruments, etc., etc. And then suitable technology select చేసుకోవడము. Then select safer siting of the chemical industry for a minimum loss to men and also material and environment. Safer siting means the location. So I can't set up a chemical industry in between the center of the city or any center of the village of the city. So where I can do it, I can set up this in a, I can define an industrial area. There only I can give permission to set the or to build the chemical factory or industry. That's where all these industrial corridors or SEDGE, special economical zones and all will come. ఎక్కడ చేసి నేను ఒక suitable technology choose చేసుకున్న తర్వాత then I'll allocate the company in a such a way that there, in case of any accident happens also, the loss will be minimal in nature. అంటే అందులో కూడా మనకి ప్రమాదం జరిగిన తర్వాత దాని యొక్క పర్యవసానం అనేది తక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. Then design and construct the factory with all the safety precautions from the very beginning. So we have seen hazard operability study. So hazard, why we have read about hazard? Okay, I got one comment. I can see what it is. Sir, voice clear ga ledu. Meeru mute పెట్టేశారు. Okay, what about others? Anybody's having issue? Voice? Can you please respond? We have another 27. No. Okay, fine. Ashok, I think you have to check your network, please. I think others are able to hear me properly. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So we are talking about hazard operability study. So why we do hazard? So hazard will be basically done for to see the design deviations. Design deviation means, for example, my factory is having 10 reactors. In the 10 reactors, the flow has to happen in such a manner that once the chemical reaction happens in reactor 1, it has to go to 2, and then it has to go to 3. Simultaneously, it has to finally come to reactor 10. That is my design intent. What does it mean by design intent? Design requirement. That is my requirement. So hazard will be done for to identify the deviations of the design intent. అంటే డిజైన్ లో ఉండే లోపాల గురించి. So we'll see the gaps or the limitations in the design intent. Okay. So the workplace hazards inside the factory should be controlled by a good engineering controls and the safe work methods, also operating procedures, and using personal protective equipments, which is nothing but PPE. So workplace hazards inside the factory should be controlled by good engineering controls. So what is meant by engineering control? Anybody want to speak? You can speak. I'm unmuting. What is mean by engineering control? With an example.
Like signboard of the chemical storage area.
Sorry?
Chemical storage area signboard.
No, signboard comes in administrative control, Santosh. Any example? Engineering control means I'll give a more clarity. So where you are using the technology, equipments or instruments or controllers to avoid the exposure.
సార్ వన్ మోర్ టైం
అక్కడ ఏంటంటే మనం ఏదన్నా కొత్త టెక్నాలజీని కానీ లేదంటే ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్ని కానీ ఎక్విప్మెంట్స్ని కానీ యూస్ చేసి ఈ ప్రమాదాన్ని కంట్రోల్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. వాటిని మనం ఇంజనీరింగ్ కంట్రోల్స్ అంటాము.
Like machine guards?
Yes, that is also one of the control. Very good. I can say machine guards, sensors, then limit switches, safety relief valves, pressure relief valves, controlled atmosphere. All these things comes under this what do you call engineering controls. Okay.
ఓకే సార్.
Yeah. Fine. One second. Yeah. Other one is the requisite of the safety devices. So what is meant the requisite of the safety devices? Fittings, instruments, equipments, machines, etc. must be provided and also well maintained. So with respect to the safety related devices, what is meant by safety related devices? Just now I have taken an example. So we can put a sensor or will put an a controller, saying that if it goes beyond this temperature, it has to switch off or it has to activate the controller. For example, if you take a reactor, so if the temperature of the chemical which is going beyond 70 degrees, so immediately the coolant or the chilled line has to activate and it has to supply the water to the jacket so that we can control. Okay. Then instruments and other equipments which are required, and the workers must be properly trained for safe operation of the plant and their role in emergency planning and also control. So workers must be properly trained for safe operation of the plant. So the people should be well known about the hazards which are present. So how we can say hazards? They should well aware what are the hazards with respect to the activities they are performing. They should be well aware. Otherwise, what will happen? They can't able to manage the things. Training is the crucial part for the people. Even it is required any refreshment training also. What is meant by refreshment training? The refreshment training is nothing but any chemicals which are upgraded. For example, initially I have only 10 chemicals. So over a period of time, I have brought a new chemical into my premises. Then those specific chemical hazards also you should educate your team members. And safe transportation and handling of hazardous chemicals within and also outside factory premises, and safe disposal of hazardous waste within the outside the factory premises. So safe transportation of chemicals, which is also a greater requirement. Maybe in the last few years, we could see some of the petrol tankers have been met with an accident, or some other kind of chemical tanker or acid tanker has been met with an accident. So resulting the people have been exposed. So the safe transportation also matter during your transferring the larger quantity of chemicals. And also the internal transportation also. How will do transport the chemicals? Either will do transport the chemicals by smaller containers, bulk containers, and also through pipeline also. Pipeline will be mostly internal. Sometimes if you see a petrochemical, they'll do transport these chemicals but thousands of kilometers also. So how your transportation system is designed, how safe it is, what kind of controls you are having. in your transportation. That also we have to check. అంటే మనము ఒక కెమికల్ని ఒక చోటు నుంచి ఒక చోటుకి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసేటప్పుడు అందులో ఉండే ప్రమాదాలన్నింటినీ కూడా మనం పసిగట్టాలి. అందుకనే మనకి కెమికల్ని రోడ్డు ద్వారా ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు లేదంటే అదర్ లొకేషన్స్కి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేసేటప్పుడు అక్కడ వాళ్ళకి ఆ కెమికల్కి సంబంధించిన ఎంఎస్డిఎస్, దాంతోపాటుగా ట్రెమ్ కార్డు, వాళ్ళకి ఫస్ట్ ఎయిడ్ కానీ ఫైర్ ఫైటింగ్ ట్రైనింగ్, లీక్ అరెస్టింగ్ దే కెన్ కంట్రోల్ లీక్, ఇవన్నీ కూడాను వాళ్ళకి ట్రైనింగ్ ఇస్తూ ఉంటారు. ఓకే, then safe transportation we are done, and safe disposal of hazardous waste within and also outside the factory premises. What is mean by within? Safe disposal. So this hazardous waste will be generated based on your nature of operations. If you see your CFO, consent for operation, I'll type in chat box. So if you refer your CFO, consent for operation, there you can see your operation activities. Then you will have hazardous waste authorization. In the hazardous waste authorization, you will see the what are the different types of waste you are generating in your activity and how you are going to dispose it. So dispose, how we'll do? One is incineration. How will do dispose? One is incineration, landfilling, or reusing. Reuse, how it will happen? Examination of the so this pre-medical examination is very much important, as I told you before. So why we need the pre-medical examination? If at all the people are claiming for the occupational disease, they will say that, okay, because of I have joined in so company, I've been affected with this disease, they have to pay the compensation to me. So that is not the case. That's why every organization has to do a pre-medical examination for all the employees. Okay. These are the 10 points where we can understand. So if I go to the glance, so we have understood that we have to understand what are the types of chemicals we are using. For that, we are referring to the MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. This will be provided by the chemical manufacturer. So where you are buying a chemical, there they will give this MSDS because they know about their chemical because they are only produced it. Then we have to choose the proper technology for handling of such a chemicals. Another one is siting, location, where you are setting up your chemical plant, how the population is in and around. If it is more dense, అంటే ఎక్కువ మంది పాపులేషన్ చుట్టుపక్కల ఉంది అంటే, so it will give a more risk in case of any accident happens, the more people will get affected. Then design and construction of the factory and also with all the safety precautions. So while building the factory, we should have all the designs and also the controls. It should be in a place in the stage of design. We should not look for any alternatives or etc. etc. We should have proper design and controls. Then workplace hazards. Workplace means wherever the activities are happening inside the factory should be controlled by good engineering controls. We have to look for we have to look for the controls which are required to control all the hazards which we have identified. Then we have to train our staff, not only workers, everybody. As per the factory worker means, apart from the occupier, everybody will be treated as worker only. There is no definition in Factories Act what who is mean by manager or assistant manager or deputy manager or DGM. Only call as one is a manager, one is or occupier. These two are the people will be differently designated. Otherwise, everybody fall under worker category. Okay. Then safe transportation of chemical. So we have talked about how the chemical can be transported in a safer manner without any issues during the transportation. Then talking about the disposal, how we can dispose the chemical or sorry waste. Waste it is generated అంటే ఒక వేస్ట్ ఏమైనా జనరేట్ అయితే దాన్ని సేఫ్ గా ఎట్లా డిస్పోజ్ చేయొచ్చు. And also a well monitoring and also control of hazardous substances in workplace and occupational ill effects and diseases by the pre-medical examinations. So in case of people are exposed to the chemicals, how we can understand? Until unless if you have not seen the exposure or done the any medical examination, you could not able to identify this person is affected with so and so chemical. Okay, these are the 10 points we have to remember. Now we'll see the need of safety in chemical industry. Now you would have got a fair understanding about why we need the safety of the chemicals. So until unless you're not following any requirements or you are not having any control on your chemicals, you can't able to manage the hazards or accidents in your factory. Now we'll see what is the requirement, because the chemical, it is not like a water. It will have different kinds of nature or the behaviors. For example, if I take a human being as an treat as a chemical, will have different types of behaviors. So when I was in happy, I'll behave like differently. When I was sad, I'll behave differently. When I was angry, I'll behave differently. అంటే నాకు కోపంగా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒకసారి ఒక రకంగా నేను ప్రవర్తిస్తూ ఉంటాను, సంతోషంగా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక రకంగా ప్రవర్తిస్తూ ఉంటాను, బాధతో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక రకంగా ప్రవర్తిస్తూ ఉంటాను. అంటే దట్ ఈస్ ద డిఫరెంట్ ద నేచర్ ఆఫ్ ద పర్సన్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ది సర్కమ్స్టెన్స్. అంటే ఆయన ఉన్న పరిస్థితులను బట్టి he will behave in different manner. Like I'll take the similar example with the chemical. For example, if I take a chemical, if it is in normal temperature, if I stored in normal temperature, it may behave like nothing will be happen. It is okay. If I increase the temperature, I am keeping this chemical in a bit high temperature locations. What will happen? It will get react with the temperature. Then it can release a toxic or poisonous gases, or sometimes it may create a fire hazard also. Or I'll put this chemicals under pressure. I'm putting an extra pressure on the chemical. In such cases also, the chemical behavior will changes, because it is not a water. It will have different kinds of nature. Now we'll see exactly. అంటే కెమికల్ కూడాను కొన్ని వాతావరణ పరిస్థితులు కానీ స్టోరేజ్ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ లో, అంటే the storage conditions also will differ the hazards with the chemical. అంటే ఒక్కొక్క రకమైన పరిస్థితులలో ఒక్కొక్క రకమైన వాతావరణ పరిస్థితులలో ఈ కెమికల్స్ అనేవి ఈ డిఫరెంట్ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ లో మనకి డిఫరెంట్ గా బిహేవ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటాయి. Now we'll see what exactly it is required. So through safety in each field is of equal importance, and safety in the chemical field needs more attention because of its specific nature. That's what we are talking about. So safety, it is not only required for chemical industry, everywhere it is required. So even from the home, you should start the safety consciousness. From the tripping devices, we should not overload our sockets, and we should keep it bit away from all the cleaning agents and chemicals from the kits. So we should be cautious about our electrical cables which are outdoor or which is open, or we should not run any cables to the doors and windows, and we should be cautious about the spillage of water in the where you have tiles in your homes, so which will become a slippery surface. And we should be cautious about the water heaters if the kids are there in your home, and we should be cautious about the knives which we are using while cutting the vegetables, and we should be cautious about our toilets, because there I have seen the severe injuries will happen in the toilet because of the slippery surface, because it will always wet. So all these are different types of hazards which are in the inside our house itself. There are no chemicals, no equipments, no machines, big machines and all, but still there are potential hazards which can leads to injuries. Sometimes it may leads to death also. So the safety has to come from the home. Similar way, chemical also required a safe handling practices because of its nature. A chemical safety seems more complicated than civil or mechanical or electrical safety, because each chemical has many properties. I told you it have many properties and many processes, many hazards, and also many controls. The state, pressure, temperature, process parameters, etc., are also changeable. So what will happen? It will have many properties because of state, which means in a solid state or liquid state or gaseous state, based on the state, or pressure, at what pressure it is, low pressure or high pressure. All the will matter. Okay. And if you see, or changeable and many hazards or complete reaction documents are still not available. If you see, most of the chemicals, they are not have the complete documentation also. Sometimes what will happen, without knowing the document, what will happen, we can't able to act on it. I'll take an example of any fire accident happens. So if you are not aware about the chemical, what will happen? You may not use the suitable extinguishing medium to extinguish the fire. అంటే మనకి తెలియకుండా ఏ కెమికల్ ఏంటి అన్నది, దాని ప్రాపర్టీస్ తెలియకుండా మనం దాని మీద ఎటువంటి యాక్షన్ తీసుకోలేము. ఎందుకు? అదేంటో తెలియదు. There are some of chemicals which may water reactive also. So if it is in a water reactive chemical, what will happen? It will explode. And if the chemical, if it touches the water, what will happen? It will react and it will explode, or it can create any poisonous gases or etc. etc. So that also to be checked. And also, if you see the Bhopal incident, many hazards are known after the accident only in the case of Bhopal and also many other accidents also. And engineering controls may not be possible or available at the many places, and the control devices and also personal protection are inadequate at many times. So control devices and also PPEs, which are inadequate. Inadequate means which are not sufficient. Controls are insufficient to control the hazard. And the engineering controls may not be possible and also available. And PPs, warning devices may be many either or not available and also not are in functioning well. And all these diversified working conditions and also the operational situations cause many dangerous which need to with their proper knowledge and also attention followed by the proper safety measures and also proper preventive as well as corrective maintenance. So warning devices. So in case of any leakage, in case of any spillage, or in case of any overfilled, or in case of any the equipment is not working properly, all these things will be changes. Okay, so whatever the controls we are having or monitoring device we are having, it should be properly inspected. It should work